Leo Acapulco, have you heard of bright line eating? I did a video on that. One of my patients and friends alerted me to it, and it's a big, big deal. So what Leo's talking about, there's a book, and there's more than one book, I think now, and a lot of content out there. It's a great component. The author had her own acknowledged addiction problems, more than just food. But food is an addiction for a lot of us. And here's the big, big difference. There's one critical difference between food as an addiction and the other addictions like alcohol or other substances like drugs. When you have a food addiction, it's not like you can go cold turkey. You can't stop eating. With Alcoholics Anonymous, you hear them say, I haven't touched a drop of alcohol in 20 years and I'm an alcoholic. And, the implied statement is, if I go back and I touch alcohol after 20 years, I'm an alcoholic and I'm right down that falling off the wagon addiction trail again. You don't hear people with food addictions saying that, because you can't go without food for 20 years. So she's making a point. She goes into the issues. There's a lot of information about decision science. Believe it or not, decisions, there's significant science around decisions. And the basics of bright line eating for the food area is this. When I was at Hopkins, I did a lot of work on HIV 30 years ago. And I worked with a fellow named David Celentano. He was a world-renowned researcher in addiction. And it was an interesting thing is, because I was doing HIV work, he was doing addictions work, we bumped into each other a lot and co-authored some stuff. And I learned from him that, with addicts, they were okay until their source of addiction got into a realistically accessible area. As soon as it was, I can score some Coke or whatever, then their addiction just cranked up. But as long as it was nowhere in sight, nowhere accessible, then they really didn't have that much of a problem. The author, I think Susan Pierce Thompson is the author, she applied that concept to eating. And that is, you make some really clear decisions and you don't vary from that. And that makes it easier for a food addict to deal with their food. And it has worked very, very well. You may remember when I was describing my own food habits, it's like salad, a piece of fish, salad, a piece of fish, salad, a piece of fish. That was my own version, self-discovery of bright line eating. Because if I tried to make a decision every time we went to a new restaurant on the road, went to a new restaurant, am I going to take this entree or is this entree doable? And maybe this one doesn't have as much carbs, and maybe it doesn't have as much, maybe it's got carbs, but I won't eat as much. You can't do that. You got to have bright line eating.